Hey, sports and drafts fans, it's Wednesday night, and you know exactly where Dave and Chuck are at 8 o'clock every Wednesday. We're right here with you. Welcome to the Sports and Draft Show. And hey, Dave, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Excited for tonight's show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're already into going into week 3 of the NFL. Lots to break down for week 2. We'll visit our picks, our picks from week 2, and you got the better of me this week. And yep, you did. But yeah. So anyway, thanks for joining us on YouTube or Facebook at Sports and Drafts. I guess I can get rid of that little logo now. Yeah. So before we get into it, so I didn't get out today to get to choose a brew, but we're kind of now the sports and spirits kind of thing. We went to Hawaii. We went to the store to buy alcohol for the resort and everything. So, you know, save a little bit of change. So I bought this. I hadn't had it before. Hadn't really heard of it. But this Tanqueray Seville Orange, made with Seville oranges, that's been added to their dry gin. And so tonight, I am simply having a gin and tonic made with the Seville Orange, if I said it correctly. And just, yeah, nice little gin and tonic. And there was a big, huge square ice cube in it, but it's melted. So cheers, buddy. What's on tap for you tonight?
Cheers. Well, I'm sharing another one from my friends in Oceanside, California, Belching Beaver.
All
So
right.
my friends at Belching Beaver delivered this to my door-side service. And this is their Deftones ceremony. So the Deftones, the band, this is a collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
They've done some other beers with them. And so their can designs are kind of a tribute to them. This is their hazy IPA ceremony, Deftones ceremony. So it's a 6.5. Looks like this. And wouldn't you know, I have a nice Belching Beaver glass, because when you're drinking Belching Beaver, Chuck, you're having damn good times.
Oh, yes, you are.
So I'm going to give this a go. Delicious. And it should be, because if you're a poor schmuck that has to buy these, which I don't, they cost about $18 to $20 for a 4-pack of the 16ers.
What?
So, yeah. So it's a higher-end beer for a higher-end guy. So I'm gonna savor this. I'm gonna savor this delicious beer. It's very good. I probably would pay the 18 for 4 of them. Probably one of the better beers I've had from them, to be honest.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, we have a viewer checking in. Just want to say hi. We haven't heard or seen this person in a ton of time. I guess it's so long that she had to say our last names when saying hi to us, you know. Just in case the rest of the the worldwide viewers don't know who we are and our last name. So, hey, Kelly, how you doing? Hopefully your wonderful husband is with you, but watching the show. So thanks for tuning in, and we certainly miss you in our fantasy league this year. Me, not so much, because you just always won, and so right now I'm undefeated after week 2. So. Probably feeling pretty good right now that you're not in our league this year, but we definitely miss you guys in fantasy. Yeah, no, we are too. It's we're happy that football season's back for sure, and lots to talk about, and we're going to get into that in just a second. Actually, you know what, we could just jump right into it. And I think, we have our picks of the week and everything. And I'm going to let you go first, because I haven't decided on an offensive player of the week. I'll go ahead and tell you, you're going to have more to share up front than I am on this. I think I'll tell you my defensive person is the Packers is Devondre Campbell. Had 10 tackles, 3 assists, and an interception. As Green Bay finally found their way, and because they were really, kind of neck and neck first half. You didn't know which way this game was going to go, and Green Bay's defense showed up in the second half and started to take over the game. Of course, Aaron Rodgers and the offense found their rhythm finally to win that game, kind of open it up though. So Devondre Campbell, the Packers, that's my defensive player of the week.
That's a great pick. My defensive player of the week is going to go to defensive back of the Tampa Bay Bucks, Mike Edwards. Had 2 interceptions against the Atlanta Falcons. So melted Matty Ice, if you will. Melted Matty Ice and those terrible Atlanta Falcons. So that's my defensive player. I mean, it's hard enough to get 1 interception in a game. Interception. So to get 2, he's going to be my week.
And so it looks like I have at least one fan tonight. Absolutely have to agree with Campbell as well, says Nathan, for the Packers. And so can I get a smile? Who's got a smile? We're all smiling here. And hey, woohoo! And Jim and Cindy, good to see you on the show tonight. Man, we have a packed house. That's just crazy. So thanks for joining, everyone. So who is your offensive player of the week?
Well, Chuck, when you're playing against maybe the worst team in the league this year, the Atlanta Falcons, which that might be a reoccurring thing I do on the show, is trash the Atlanta Falcons all season. It's pretty easy to have a big game, but I got to give it to the veteran. I got to give it to the most stereotyped football player in NFL history, scoring 2 tutties, what him and his longtime teammate Tom Brady call their touchdowns together. 2 tutties for Gronk. Second week in a row, this old man gets 2 touchdowns in the National Football League in a game. It's got to go to Gronk for 2 tutties.
That's a fantastic pick. I was actually thinking someone a little bit different. He went 2 for 3 on his field goals, had a long kick of 52 yards on the night. So, no slump there, but he did miss the game-winning field goal against the Cardinals. So my pick is Greg Joseph for missing the game-winning field goal so that the Arizona Cardinals could win the football game. So thank you, Greg Joseph.
I got one more thing about Gronk too. So I don't know if you've seen it or if anyone else out there have seen it, but I haven't been a very big ESPN fan for the last handful of months because I just think they're getting rid of all their best people. I don't think they put out quality shows anymore in the daytime very much. But something they have done that is great is they have Peyton Manning and Eli Manning on Monday nights, I believe on ESPN2, sitting at home on Zoom together, watching the football game and talking about the game. And they bring guests in like Brett Favre, and they've brought Pat McAfee last week, and they bring in guys as guests, and they watch the game with them. And they for 15 minutes, they'll have 10, 15 minutes. They have another person on with them, talk about football, talk about the game, and it's really good. So I think it's pretty funny. So they had Gronk on there, and Gronk told the story. He said, yeah, my teammate, another tight end, Brait, he goes, he asked me if I ever watch film. He goes, and I said, no. He goes, I just run by guys. He goes, if I'm feeling pretty good, it works out pretty good. He goes, before the game, I'll ask Tom, like, who's good on the other team? Do I need to worry about anybody? Because I know you watched like 50 hours of film this week. So
that's hilarious.
Any certain place I shouldn't be on the field today?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, what a Gronk answer. No, I just run by guys.
That's, you know what? And I believe it with him.
Yeah, for sure.
At total, the guy's, still got a party atmosphere, lifestyle.
I
just
love that meatball.
Having a good time with it. And I think he knows he's playing on extended time. And it's definitely worked out for him the last couple of years, but more so this year. A slow start last year, with the Bucks. Wasn't hardly getting the touches or the passes, and obviously it picked up in the end of the year. But he's been crushing it this year, and he's the go-to guy, and so now defenses are like really having to step up to play him, or to consider him a threat, and not just Mike Evans and Godwin and everyone out of the backfield. But Nathan says the phone commercial. Yeah, that's when he's retired and Brady announces he's coming back. But the Brady Gronk sell. But Nathan's not as much of a fan of the Manning brothers, and they're annoying, he says. So, but yeah, I know Peyton's got a show on ESPN Plus also, and like Peyton's House or something like that. And I honestly haven't seen that. It's part of it. I could subscribe to it with our Hulu and everything else, and I just haven't done it. And it's kind of would be included, or $1 more a month or something. I just haven't done it because I'm kind of on the same boat as you with ESPN. The programming just hasn't been there, so why should I want to pay even $1 more for ESPN Plus just to watch like Peyton's House? But yeah, so what was how about your game of the week?
I think my game of the week, I was really close between two of them. But I really think with the matchup, that Chiefs-Baltimore game was a great game with Baltimore pulling it out at the end. That was a really good that whole game. So just seeing, Mahomes and Jackson being able to scramble at the end of the game and pull out and do what he needed to do to get that final touchdown and a shootout. It was, what was the score of that game? 36-35 Ravens, high scoring. Yeah. That was a super fun game. And then I got to give it up to the Titans for pulling it out in the end on the road at Seattle. Loud crowd on the road. They didn't play very good at all. They got smashed week 1 in Arizona. So to come back against a team that's very good at home and get that close win and, win it in overtime and do what they needed to do, I was really impressed with Tennessee getting that win too, actually, after how they played week 1.
Yeah. For Titans to pull that out, I thought that was to have them come back in that game too, because they were down pretty good most of the way through. So, but I'm also with you, and I'm with Nathan that the Ravens game was my game of the week, and to kind of stick in that game, and that's just something that Cleveland could have done, and they were on a roll, and the Ravens were just able to stay close enough and make it work out in the end to pull out that win. And so that's big. I mean, Ravens couldn't go down 0-2 at this point, and it'd be a tough sled from there. But good on them. Puts a little bit more pressure on the Chiefs, who might have felt after, we'll just do our thing and we'll beat everyone, like they did with Cleveland. So I'm with you on the Ravens game was my game of the week. And Nathan, I agree. All the night games have been on fire this year. They've been good. They've picked good games to show at night. So hopefully tomorrow night, Thursday night's game, Panthers Texans is probably not one that you're going to get too hyped up about, but hopefully they make it a good football game. So I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really pick. So I wanted to do this every week. Coach on the hot seat. I didn't really go down through the list to say, oh, this is kind of my coach. This is who I think. But did you actually? I mean, I kind of threw that on you last week. Did you give that any thought, or do you have someone that you think, or we can just move on from it?
For me, it's probably gonna keep with my theme for the season, and it will be Atlanta's coach every week because I think they're awful.
Yeah, and I I'm not gonna say speaking of awful, but there's two teams before we move on to like looking at our picks last week and getting to this week's picks. What happened with two? I'm gonna say two teams. The first one's probably more of a shock. So, are the Saints just have a bad week or are they just bad? Because that was 2 different games from week 1 to week 2.
They didn't have 7 coaches on the sideline because of COVID. I mean, I know the players play, but we're coaches. We have to put our guys in the right position. We have to call the right game plan for them to be successful where their strengths are. That is going to affect you when you're missing 7 coaches. If you're missing a couple, maybe not, but 7, that's like half your staff, if not more, that can't be on the sideline. You can't do everything from OC, defensive coordinator. You know, you need all those position coaches to do their job too. You can't be everywhere at once during an NFL game. That's part of it. But yeah, Winston didn't play well, and I was shocked they played as well as they did week 1. So I thought that might just be a fluke anyway. You know, I didn't see them playing that well again, maybe the whole season as they did in game 1. But, you know, I think it's just hard to read. You know, they missed coaches. Their guys didn't make plays. It was just a combination of a lot of things. So I think they're kind of yet to be determined. I mean, it's only week 2. You know, let's wait till week 5, 6 until we know who's like really sucks, like who's 0-5 and, you know, 1-4. And, you know, I think we'll know more then. Right now, I don't know. I think it's kind of a toss up. I don't see them being a playoff team. I didn't at the start of the season.
Okay.
But, you know, it could have been a fluke, you know, just because they're missing all those coaches, and they played so well the first game that I didn't expect them to play that well all season.
Okay. What about the turnaround for the Packers this week in week 2 after losing to said Saints and beating up on now the 0-2 Lions? But they did struggle early with them, I thought. Not struggle, but, you know, Lions went up on them first. I mean, it was kind of a back and forth. Do you think that was just, hey, we needed a game to get all the starters back into it, and here we are? Or game and a half, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine. And we got to remember, you know, the Lions are a weird team because the first week they have a new coach, they have a new quarterback, they have new everything. The first game they played the 49ers, and the 49ers were blowing them out. And then all of a sudden they came back. And then this week it was the opposite. They were close, and then they got blown out in the second half. So, I mean, I think for the Packers, a lot of it was the inconsistency of the Detroit Lions because they can't figure out what exactly they are right now, and they just have so many new pieces as far as coaching and on the field and everything, where the Packers are pretty much the same team that went to the NFC Championship game last week. So I think week 1 for the Packers was just kind of like an oops, and I think they'll be fine. I mean, I expect them to do pretty well in that NFC, you know, North Division. I think they'll be fine. I think game 1 was just kind of a fluke for them. They have good players. They have good talent. You know, they have all the pieces still to be a good team. So I think they just had a bad week 1, and I think they'll be fine moving forward.
Okay. So let's do a quick recap of week 2, our pick'em week. And I'm holding on. I had a nice, I think, 4-game lead on you going into this week, and I gave up a few games. I took some chances to see if I could stretch that lead out on you, but you made up some games. I got the slimmest of margins over you right now, but so I'm shooting 500, and you're just a speck under me there. What was the difference this week? What do you have down?
So I got you on the Bills blew out the Dolphins, and you took the Dolphins 3.5. They were underdogs. I took the 49ers. They were a 3.5-point favorite and won by 6. You took the Eagles. You did get me on the Raiders. I had picked the Steelers to cover 6.5, and the Raiders won by 9. And then where else did I get you? You got me on you picked the Titans. You got me on that one because I took the Seahawks, and you got that one. And then I picked the Cowboys. and the Chargers were favored, so I got that one on the dog. And then you took the Lions because you didn't think that Packers would cover 10.5. And if the game was over at halftime, they would not have. But then they came out and won by 18. So that's where we differed and what the differences were.
Yeah, well, I guess the switch for Goff and Stafford really wasn't a good thing for the Lions yet. It's not showing to be. So I don't know who I feel sorry for, or if I should feel sorry for Jared Goff in this scenario. But yeah, no, I mean, I just love the games this week. Some really, I said going into last week, the picks were going to be tough. I am a person that's going to take some chances here and there. I will say that looking at this week, though, it's going to be a little bit different. But before we get into the picks for this week, I'd like to go ahead, if you don't mind, and do the Play It Through Person of the Week.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And get me set up over here. But we want every week, of course, we have Dave's Play It Through Person of the Week. If you're not familiar with Play It Through, please check out Facebook at Play It Through, Play-It Through, or Instagram at Play It Through 19. But yeah, Dave, so I'm going to jump out and then turn it over to you and let you take it over, man, for Play It Through.
Cool, man. Yeah, so my Play It Through Person of the Week this week is David Brown. He is a 100 and 200 meter para-athlete. So he got what is called Kawasaki, a visually impairment. When he was 15 months old, started getting really bad when he was about 13. And by the time he was a senior in high school, about 18 years old, he was completely blind. So it's kind of a progressive disease. And so he's been completely blind since he was 18. When he started high school and he had already started losing his vision, he went to the Missouri School for the Blind, where he starred there in track and field. There's actually a great documentary that I watched after work today on YouTube. It's called Untethered. It's only about, 27, 28 minutes long, so it's not a real long one, but it kind of goes through, his life and everything. And so his partner there, this unfortunate picture on the ground, this is his running partner, Jerome Avery. They've ran together for 7 years. So basically it's called Untethered because recently, Jerome had an injury and couldn't be his guide. So the guide there on the ground, they both have to run together. They both have to be in sync. They both have to run at the same pace. It's almost really a team competition when you're the guide of someone that, has this visual impairment. So they've been doing this together for 7 years, and the tether is what connects them on their wrists. So normally it's about 8 inches long. They have shortened theirs to 4 because they're so in sync and so synchronized, and they've worked together for so long. They've actually shortened it, so they're like in sync, side by side. It's almost like synchronized sprinting. So back this picture was back in London. Unfortunately, this is a year where it's so important for your guide to run as fast as you and synchronize as you. The guide actually fell and ended up costing them a place in London in 2017. So that was a big disappointment because in 2014, David had actually broke the world record for the T11 category. That's the category he runs in the Paralympics and the World Championships. And T11 is basically the category for athletes with visual impairments. They have to be entirely without sight or be able to they can perceive light, but have no ability to see the shape of a hand at any distance. So a palm right in front of their face, they can't tell it's a hand or make out its shape. So basically completely blind, but some of the competitors can perceive light. They still can't see shapes and they can't see objects. But David in 2014, when he was 22 years old, was the first completely all blind runner to run under 11 seconds, the 100. He ran it in 10.92. So medal in 2014 when he had the world record. Now, I was checking today. I was looking to see, because he also holds the world record in the men's 200 meter in the T11 category, and he ran that at 22.4 seconds. And he did that when he was 22, the same year, 2014, when he was the first completely blind man to run under 11-second 100. They did not have a 200-meter men's competition in Tokyo. I researched for like an hour online, and I could not find a story of why. I could not find out. There was a women's 200 in the T11. There wasn't a men's, and I'm not really quite sure why, and I couldn't find it. But if he ran that, I'm sure he would hold that too. Unfortunately, this year, when he went to Paralympics in Tokyo, Jerome had an injury. So right before, he had to start with a whole new guide, and the synchronized wasn't there, and he actually didn't make the finals. Another young man from Greece, Athaniosis Gavelis, actually broke his record, a new world record at 10.82 in that 211 category, 22-year-old. So the same age he was when he broke the world record, this 22-year-old this year broke it, because David's 28 now. But, it's an incredible story. It's a credible friendship that they have in the documentary. They went to New York, and Jerome was just so kind. He's kind of guiding David around. David does use a cane, but, you see Jerome guiding him around. You see David, feeling things, feeling objects, and Jerome is telling him kind of what it is. So there was a mini statue of the Statue of Liberty, and so he's feeling, her crown, and Jerome's telling, him what that is, and then moving his hand over so he can feel, the book she's holding and her face and everything. And then they got on a ferry, and they went out to the real Statue of Liberty, and he would take David's hand, and he would direct it to the direction of whatever he was looking at. So he'd say, right over here is the Statue of Liberty that we felt earlier, on the model downtown. And then over here is the Brooklyn Bridge. And so it's just really cool to see that bond and friendship, and how Jerome is just such an aide and a good guy with that. And you see David's mother tell the story about, raising him a little bit when she found out that he, had this Kawasaki disease. Happy to say that Jerome is engaged to a wonderful woman named Rebecca, and they go out and she helps him shoot hoops. That's his favorite thing to do, believe it or not, is she'll just place him and say, "You're 5 feet in front of the hoop," and he'll make baskets. And he said if he wasn't blind, he would love to be a professional basketball player, which I don't know if anyone has told David, but he's 5'9" and 165 pounds. So you have to be a heck of a basketball player to make it big at that size. But I mean, he's limitless, very inspirational. He's very thankful. He's very encouraging in the documentary. So I would recommend anybody go on YouTube and look it up. It's called Tethered, the David Brown story, and just a great read. And so for all those reasons, David Brown, Paralympic 100-meter sprinter, is my Play It Through person of the week.
That was a great choice. It just amazes me how people overcome really any, it's like sometimes, when you have a disability, it's like, okay, this is it. This is my life. But others challenge themselves to find a way to excel at something and, but still go through adversity. I mean, you would think that, okay, being tethered is pretty straightforward. But the real struggles of how much you still depend on your guide and when they're not there, and how much in sync you have to be to excel at a high level. So it's not just that, hey, I'm just a well-fit athlete and I can run fast. There's other things in there that you have to depend on. And so this, I hope he comes back, takes his record back again, and it's a fantastic story, not taking anything away from anyone else, but this is a fantastic story, and wish him the best in his journey.
I would challenge anybody not blind to go out and run under an 11-second 100-meter, and then imagine doing it hooked by the arm to someone right next to you 4 inches away.
No.
I mean, I can't run a under 11-second 100-meter dash. There's no way. I might go try it just to see. It'll probably take me 15 seconds. I'm probably not even close to under 11 seconds right now to a 100-meter dash. I mean, that's pretty damn quick. If you can run a under 1100, that's pretty good speed, let alone having someone right next to you hooked to your wrist.
Yeah, exactly. I would probably be faster on my own. Obviously, not if I was like blindfolded or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't run as fast as him. No way. So, hey, as we transition over, Kim, thanks for joining the show. Glad you're here. Sorry about the Chargers. And I was rooting for the Chargers, of course. But tough week for the Chargers. Drop one to the Cowboys. It was close at least. And so it gives a lot of hope because everybody's giving hope to the Chargers still. There's so many, 75% of the world thinks the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl probably. So, that you stuck, that you were within, I think, 3 points of the perceived Super Bowl champions. Should feel good, Kim. I'm just trying to build you up, Kim. It was a loss. I don't know what else to say. So, hey, we've got week 3 is here. Already, I can't believe we're already 3 weeks into the season. And
season flies. Once it starts, it's over in a blink. The whole end of the year is just over fast every year.
Well, because you have football on Thursdays, Sundays, Mondays, and it just seems like it's just dropping. And there's always a game on, it seems. But let's go ahead and take a look at this week's games and let's make our picks. And so let's see. Let me get this up. Get my mouse on the right monitor here. So these are the games. I think I'm going to kind of zoom in here so everybody. Oops, I'm on the wrong screen to be zooming in. I get this one. So you got me this last week. On the game picks, you caught up to me almost, but not yet. So I think I went through these a little bit, and I think I'm going to be a little bit more conservative this week. So let's see how many we differ. So first we have Carolina's going to Houston. And Carolina, I mean, you win a game and you get 7.5 points. I'm actually taking Houston here, and I'm taking Houston.
Do you know they're working on their third string quarterback this week because Tyrod Taylor is not playing?
I did not know that.
That's why I wanted to bring that up.
You should not have told me.
He's probably not playing this week, just to be fair. It's a kid that's never started in the NFL before.
Then I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers.
Good call. And for the reasons I just mentioned, that's why I'm also taking the Carolina Panthers.
So just if Tyrod Taylor was playing, who would you also pick?
I would have picked the Texans.
Okay.
And they're at home. They're at home, and he's been playing pretty well, and I don't think they would lose to a Sam Darnold-led Carolina team by 7.5.
Okay.
So I only did it because the quarterback situation. That's it.
Well, thanks. I owe you one on that pick. Now watch us both lose.
This kid comes in and burns 5 TD passes. Legend in the making. Deshaun Watson, who?
So the Colts are going to Tennessee. I picked Tennessee. I took Tennessee at 5.5 on this.
I took Tennessee also after how they performed in Seattle, and I don't believe the Colts are that good. And I'm waiting. Carson Wentz might not be playing. I think he sprained his ankle because he might not be playing every week of his career since he started in the NFL.
Exactly.
So, how good Tennessee looked, and they're at home, I definitely will say they win by a touchdown.
So who do you have? Who do you have Who do you have Atlanta going to New York? New York is favored by 3.5.
I believe the Oregon Ducks will beat the I am taking New York Giants at home for sure over the team that I am just going to bury on this show every week until they show they can play NFL football.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. I am also taking the Giants in this. Until Atlanta's. I think we're gonna lose this game. I have a feeling we're gonna lose this game, but we'll see. So the Chargers are at the Chiefs. I don't even know what off the board means.
The line is 6.5. They didn't have a line yet. The line is 6.5.
So 6.5. I'm marking up my thing here.
Chiefs.
So the Chiefs are favorites by 6.5 against the Chargers. And the Chiefs just lost to Baltimore. Do I think that the Chargers could beat Cleveland? I don't know if they have the defense. I want to pick the Chargers here, Kim. I really want to pick the Chargers. But that's only 6.5. If it were 7, maybe 10, maybe. What do you think, Dave?
Oh, I'm just going to stick with my theme of picking against the Chargers. I'm 1-1 on that, and really with the errors that the Chargers made last week, because I watched that entire game. I also talked to our friend Stan Roberts that was in the crowd as a Cowboy fan in LA while he was at the game. I'm going to stick with picking against the Chargers. I do hope they win, but this may just be a theme like Atlanta where I just pick against the Chargers every week to annoy my aunt and my cousin that are big Charger fans. So for that reason, I will pick the Chiefs.
Oh, I want to pick the Chargers. I did already pick the Chiefs on my I went ahead and marked up the list and I did pick the Chiefs. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
There you go.
So Bengals are going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 4.5.
Ben's banged up. Ben's banged up, saying doing everything he can to play, but it's not a given. Questionable.
But I mean, it's still 4.5. It's still, I don't care who you put in with the Steelers. I'm still going to take the Steelers against the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm taking them at home too. They're a good home team. If Bengals can play,
to me,
Kelly knows all about that.
Yeah, to me, Ben Roethlisberger isn't really the driving force of that team anymore. I think the whole team is moderate and can thrive on without one of their star players. So I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be great in any way, just they can get by. So Chicago is visiting Cleveland, and Cleveland with their impressive win this past week, they're favored by 7.5 against the Bears. Now, the Bears did all right-ish in week 1 against the Rams. They lost this week again, right?
They won this last week.
Who did they play this week?
They played the Bengals.
Oh, shit.
But Andy Dalton got banged up, had to leave the game. Justin Fields came in.
Justin Fields, that's right.
I don't know if Dalton's starting. I think that hasn't been determined yet. If he's healthy enough, he will. But as of right now, I don't know if he's starting.
I think Cleveland. I'll take Cleveland. I'm taking Cleveland on this. What about you?
I'm going to take the Bears just because they're at home, and I think their defense has been playing good enough and keeping scores down good enough that I don't know if the Browns are going to score a ton of points. So I think the Browns could definitely win this. Oh, they're at Cleveland. I definitely think that Cleveland could win this game. I just don't know if they win it by that half point that you hate. Ooh. I don't know if they win it by more than a touchdown.
Okay.
I think they win, but I think it's closer than 7.5.
Okay, that's fair enough. So that could be a deciding game between us. So the Ravens are going to Detroit. That says off the board.
8.5 points.
8.5. Ravens. Let me type with draw with my mouse here. Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to go for it. I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah. Just how the Ravens played against the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are a good team, and the Lions are so inconsistent so far this year. I can't pick that they're going to win any game or be within any game by 10.
And with the way that the Baltimore blitzes, Jared Goff is just not he's a slow passer. He's not going to get rid of the ball that quick. He fumbled. He got one of them back, but he fumbled twice, the other night. And the Ravens should unless they F it up, they should win handily. They should cover that easily. What do you think about New Orleans going to the Saints? Saints got 3.5, getting 3.5.
We're getting 3.5. Scroll up there if you can so I can see it.
Oh. Sorry, I'm looking at different.
Let's see. Patriots are at home. You got Winston, who has been notorious for throwing interceptions in his life. Bill Belichick just wrote a plan where he got 4 interceptions last week against, albeit a rookie quarterback in Zach Wilson for the Jets. But still, even half of that is 2 interceptions against the Jameis Winston. So I am taking Bill Belichick at home to win by 3.5 over who knows how good the Saints team is. They blew out the Packers. Then they get blown out the second week.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with them. And the Patriots, even though they're not the championship Patriots, they're still going to be a competitive ball club with Bill Belichick. So I'll take the Patriots.
Yeah, I put my name on the Patriots also earlier. So I'm definitely taking the Patriots in this game by 3.5. I don't know how. Yeah, again, depends on what Saints team you see. If all 7 coaches back and they blow out the Patriots, then I know the team sucks and the coaches are awesome, right? And that they're just robots and they do what the coaches say, and if they do what the coaches say, things are successful. It'll be a good tell for us. All right, so hey, hometown Arizona Cardinals are going to Jacksonville. Cardinals are getting 7.5 in this game on the road. What do you think?
Cardinals are maybe going to be the highest scoring point team in the league this year, the way they're going. I don't see a rookie quarterback in that offense of Jacksonville being able to win a track meet with the Cardinals. So I think the Cardinals win by a touchdown and a half. Easy, because I just don't think the Jaguars, still new coach, still new, brand new rookie, at quarterback. I think Arizona's got a lot better coaching. I think they have a lot better talent. They got more veterans. They've had 2 outstanding games where they've scored over 30 points. I don't think Jacksonville can score 30 points. I don't think that Trevor Lawrence is going to want to see Chandler Jones all day like he's going to see all day. And he's going to make some errors because of that. So I totally take your hometown Arizona Cardinals in this.
Yeah, I went ahead and put my name on that Arizona Cardinals earlier too. That wasn't even a thought process. Didn't even think about that one. Whether I lose or not, I wasn't even going to think about that one. Maybe if I'm playing the Buccaneers, maybe I think twice about that pick. But let me ask you a question about that. So we talk about Chandler Jones on is that his name, right? Chandler? Yeah. How come we're not talking about JJ Watt? What I haven't really, and unless I take my monitor away that we're looking at the spread, I can't really click on the game and see what he did last week. I guess I can. You would think we would be talking more about JJ Watt, right? He was a big pickup for the defense.
You know what I'll do for you is I have the NFL Game Pass.
I can 2 tackles.
Yeah,
I can 2 tackles.
I can watch every. That doesn't really matter for a D end. I can watch every game. So what I'll do is I'll watch both of the Cardinals games and I'll track every play JJ Watt is in that I can see that they pan, and I'll see what's happening. Their side, Miss getting doubled. And then that means Chandler's got one-on-ones, and it's going to be a lot easier for him to rack up stats, sacks, all that stuff. Defensive ends generally don't get a lot of tackles, especially if you're a good one, because they don't run your direction. And if they do, they double you, they chip a tight end off you, and then the outside linebacker gets the tackle. The middle linebacker hits the gap and gets the tackle. Safety comes up and gets the tackle. Corner comes off, gets the tackle. So, if you're going to the outside, sometimes DNs don't get a whole lot of tackles in the stat sheet. If they're double teamed, they're not getting a lot of stats because they're getting double teamed all the time, but that frees up either a D lineman or the defensive end on the other side gets one-on-one because they're getting double teamed. You're freeing a linebacker up if you're using a tight end to also help block because he's not going out on a route. So now that linebacker is free. He's got a free, read, so he can read ball, read quarterback, running back, whatever, because he doesn't have to worry about a tight end. So I will do my coaching research and my tape research, and I will watch both Cardinal games, and I will let you know if he is getting double teamed or if the team is running the other way, if they're rolling out opposite of him and running right into Chandler Jones, and that's part of the reason he's had a good year or not.
All right. I thank you for taking one for the team and doing your scouting report on J.J. Watt from the Cardinals. We'll send your scouting report to the Cardinals in case they need it too. All right, so where are we at? Washington is at Buffalo. Buffalo is favored by 8.5 points. What says you, David Webb?
I says that this was one of my probably top 2 hardest games to pick with that line, 8.5, because the Bills lost to the Steelers, who aren't bad, but they aren't amazing, week 1. And then the Bills won this week against a real crappy team, but they blew them out. Washington, I don't think is good, but I don't think they're terrible. Their defense isn't too bad. It's not a far travel to go from Maryland to Buffalo, New York. It's not a far road game for Washington. Man, that 8.5 is just a weird freaking number, man. I mean, it's more than a touchdown, less than a touchdown, and a field goal. A team that I feel is supposed to be very good this year, the Bills, but I'm not sure if they're that good yet against a team where their backup quarterback is making a little bit happen. Man, that's a hard line, man.
You really want to take the Bills. You just can't talk yourself into it.
I have written down Washington. I just don't think their defense is going to allow them to lose by more than 8.5. That's just that's a big spread. So I'm going to take Washington. I think the Bills will win. I think Washington can keep it within 8.5.
I'm with you 100%. I think Washington's defense is good enough to keep them close. I don't think their offense is good enough to win the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I put down Washington. So I went ahead and went out on a limb, and this is a dangerous game. This next one, New York at Denver. Denver by 10.5. I took Denver on this, and there's no reason to actually do that other than the fact that the Jets literally suck. And so yeah, I'm taking Denver in this by 10.5.
Yeah, I took Denver because I see the Jets as Atlanta Northeast. They're awful. They're terrible. They're a young Atlanta is what they are. They're young Atlanta. They're a hot mess. And Denver's been playing great. And Denver's at home, and that's a big advantage for them playing at home there in the altitude and their fans. It's a good home advantage. Teddy Bridgewater's been playing very well. The defense is playing very well. They have a good defense. And against that quarterback that threw 4 interceptions last week, I would dare to say that Denver probably has a better defense than the Patriots. And the Patriots caused a ton of turnovers for the Jets last week. So I can only assume the Broncos will at least do about the same at home. So, yeah, I take the Broncos.
Yeah, cool. I'm actually kind of embarrassed for the Raiders in this next pick, this next line.
And it's only
I'm really it's the Miami Dolphins, and they're at home and they're only getting 4.5 points. That to me, I'm embarrassed. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know who comes up with these lines. Maybe they're Raider haters that develop this stuff. I don't know.
The guys that develop the lines are in the city they play in.
Right? And they're giving their home team only 4.5 against the Miami Dolphins.
With no Tua. It's the backup quarterback. He's not even playing. Rib injury. It's backup quarterback for Miami.
I mean, this is – I almost want to say, did they forget to put the 1 in front of the 4.5? I'm easily taking the Raiders here.
Yeah. Got to.
Yeah, got to. What about Seattle at Minnesota? Seattle's favored by 1.5.
This was one of my top 3 hardest ones to pick this week. After Seattle played pretty decent the first week, then they lose to Tennessee and let them come back at home in their first home game of the season in Seattle. Minnesota was in a shootout. Probably should have beat the Cardinals, but their kicker blew it. Many kickers blew it this week. I don't know if you watched the highlights or games, but I watched several games with the Game Pass. There was a lot of kickers that missed key kicks this week that would have the Charger game. The guy misses an extra point early, so it's a 1-point difference. So instead of making, the Cowboys go for 2 at a point during the game, they don't have to go for 2. And it changed the whole dynamic of the scoring and the strategy of the coach at the end of the game that helped the Cowboys out because a guy missed a friggin' extra point earlier in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, kickers just totally cost teams this week, and so Minnesota didn't play a very good first game at all of the season. So I don't really know what's going on with them. I don't know what's going on in Seattle. Minnesota's in the dome. Man, good fans. 1.5. Just for my wife and my friends, I'm going to take Seattle on the road.
All right, so here, we're going to differ on this. I'm taking Minnesota. Minnesota, I think, had their way with Arizona, and I think they exposed Arizona. They threw on them. They ran on them. They Cook had a good game. Is that his name?
Yep.
And had a good game. Watching this game, I expected Minnesota to really blow them out. But what happened is that what I watched was Arizona's defense stepped it up late in the third and the fourth quarter and was able to actually slow down finally Minnesota's offense. And that's what kept that game close. But if they had played like they did in the first half, this would have been a 14-point Minnesota win easy. And again, Minnesota only lost because of that missed field goal. And what was funny is I said, when Minnesota was driving down the field, Dylan was watching, and I said, they need to stop because I watched their kicker make like 2 52-yard field goals, but he missed an extra point early. And I was like, don't get him. If he gets to extra point range, he may miss the kick, and if I'm Minnesota, I may want that 52-yard kick because my kickers made it. Sure enough, they passed that 52-yard threshold and went down and made it a 30-something, 38-yard field goal, whatever it was, and they missed it. And so they, as a coach, maybe I just say, hey, no, let's just stop here and kick a long field goal because you can't make the short ones, because that's exactly what happened in Minnesota. The kicker missed 2 short field goals and made 2 long field goals. But so I'm going to take Minnesota here to win the game outright. Obviously, 1.5 points. Minnesota's going to win this game outright. They just looked. I thought they looked strong last week. I think Arizona has a good team. I think they're going to get better, but Minnesota shouldn't have been able to, based on how Arizona took care of the Titans in that run. I'm surprised they gave up all the runs they did to Minnesota. So yeah, I'm taking Minnesota here. I don't need to talk about it anymore. So how this was kind of a shock to me. The Super Bowl champions aren't getting any respect in LA. They're 2-0.
Not it.
And they're getting zero respect in LA.
Yeah,
I mean,
apparently
Rams,
it's a pick 'em in the game of the week. I mean, 0.5. That's a toss up. That's just pick who's going to win.
Yeah. Who do you take here?
I think I have written down that I'm going to take the Rams.
Okay.
Because they're at home. Because Aaron Donald Brady around. So he's either going to have to get the ball out of his hands extremely fast, or Aaron Donald's going to get to him, and Floyd is going to get to him. That pass rush is going to get to him. They have a great cornerback in Jalen Ramsey who will shut down whoever they decide to put him on, whether it's Mike Evans or Chris Goodwin. That guy's not getting hardly any passes all game. You do have to worry about everyone else Tampa Bay has, Gronk and whoever Ramsey isn't covering and all that. But I'm just thinking, I don't know if the Buccaneers have necessarily played that great of talent the last 2 weeks. I don't, I mean, who have they played? I mean, who have they really beat? The Falcons, who are awful, right? So I can't judge them on the Falcon game, really.
They beat the Cowboys.
But they did beat the Cowboys
58 times.
Pretty well. And they threw a lot, which Matthew Stafford could throw a lot. Cooper Kupp is having an amazing season so far with the Rams. They have weapons. So I'm taking the Rams basically because they're at home. And I think they have enough dynamic players on defense that it won't be as easy on offense for the Buccaneers as it has been so far.
2.3. That's what's important. 2.3. That's how fast Tom Brady gets rid of the ball. 2.3 seconds. So if Aaron Donald's that fast, all the power to him. So I'm taking, and that 2.3 is including, serious shots. So yeah, I'm taking the Super Bowl champions because they haven't lost since the Super Bowl. And I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a more physical defense. I'm not saying they're a better defense. I think they're a more physical defense. And so that in the end will take a toll on the Rams offense in the second half. It may be a close game, half, through the half. But I think the Buccaneers will open it up a little bit and win this game in the second half for sure. And when Stafford is playing from behind, he will make mistakes and throw interceptions. So that's just my 2 cents. So, gosh, I would look like such an expert if I come back here next week and it all happens like that, but it's not. I know it's not.
I'm excited for that game, though. When I saw it on the schedule this week, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch that one. Like, that's definitely could be the game of the week,
They should have actually made that like the Sunday night game, one of those, what they had, the flex schedule or whatever. Mm-hmm. They should have made that the Sunday night game. That is definitely the game I'm watching because we're going to see, what's the Stafford, deal going to be? Is he that good? Is the Rams team going to be that much better with him behind center, playing a top tier team? I mean, I'm not going to lie. I thought the Cowboy game was a big game for Tampa Bay. This may be a bigger game. Obviously, I think the Rams defense is better, definitely better than, but I think the Dallas offense is better than the Rams offense. Sorry. And I don't like Dallas. So anyway, all right, moving on. Got a couple of games left. Green Bay is going to San Francisco. The 49ers at home I'm kind of surprised at this line too, but they're only favored by 3.5. Not getting a lot of love at home against a 1-1 team.
Yeah, I'm all right with it. I mean, I think it will be a close game. The Green Bay played a lot better. We've, let the lead go against Detroit. We beat the Eagles, who I think are an okay team. I don't think they're a great team. They're just all right. We beat them, by a couple field goals last week at home. Of course, I'm going to take my 49ers just because I got to pick them. And I hope they do win by, 3.5 or if not more. Just at all. Just need a win. But I'm gonna take them at home, even though we have no running backs at all on our team that seem to be healthy. We lost all 3 of them last week. So basically, we've brought some guys in. I think 2 may be healthy that were on our roster for this week if they pass protocol throughout the week in practice and stuff tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the big day to see how they do in practice. If they'll play usually on Sunday. But I don't know. I think we have a good game plan. I think it will be close, but I just got to take my team.
Yeah, you know what? This will. I went with Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay on this. I think they have a lot of offense happening right now. They found it, and last week, and so last week I think last week I might have bet against San Francisco because of injuries. This week I'm going to not only add to the injuries, but I'm also going to add to a better offense. So I'm going to take Green Bay in this game. I mean, again, that half point will kill me. Could be a field goal, and that'll kill me. But I'm going to take my chances on that. But yeah, I hope San Francisco wins. By a field goal. Anyway, so finally, Philadelphia Monday night going to Dallas. I can't believe I actually had done this. Dallas is favored by 4.5 at home. I guess I'm not surprised at that. Dallas did not want to win. No one wanted to win the NFC East last year. And I took Dallas on this game, but it pains me to do so. It really pains me. I really went outside of myself, and this is just an emotional pick. Or it was an emotional toll on my soul to pick Dallas. But yeah, they're the better team, I think, in this matchup right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Dallas too. I'm not a Cowboy fan at all. But them playing at home against an Eagles team, I watched the whole 49er-Eagle game. I think Dallas has more offensive talent than the 49ers do. I think they've been playing better, even though we're both 2-0. Dallas was right in, or they're 1-1. They were right in that Tampa Bay game. And then, they managed to, have Herbert make mistakes in that Charger game that cost the Chargers kind of, and did what they needed to on the road there. So I feel like at home, bright lights, Monday Night Football in Jerry's World, they have everything lined up for them. It's a division game against a rival. Coming off a loss.
You're talking me out of it now.
Cowboys. Yeah, I'll take the Cowboys.
You're talking me out of the Cowboys now. When you say at home, big lights, Monday night, prime time is when they like
America's
to fail.
Team.
America's team. When they like to fail, but I'm still going to stick with the Cowboys in this. And if they lose, we both go down together. So, or if we don't cover, we both go down together on that pick. So, so I think we got 3 picks out of all those games that were a little bit different on. So, we could possibly see 4. Ooh, yeah. Nice. So we could see a little bit of a change up in the leaderboard between the two of us this week, and so good times. I'm just so excited. I've been watching so much football. I usually have my iPad sitting on the coffee table while we're watching TV, and at night, if it's a night game, and I'll listen to the game a little bit in one ear and watch TV with Leela in the other ear, so I'm not totally checked out. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of football this this year so far.
Nothing better.
Yeah, it's good time of the year, fans and folks, friends, no one who's watching. Anyway, I mean everyone that's watching. Gosh, must be past your dad's bedtime. So anyway, all right. So we are, I guess everyone, if you're watching when you watch this after, during the week, it's an hour-long show at least now. So our 30-minute show is at least 60 minutes. So, just tell your wife, tell your kids, tell your husband. I need 60 to 90 minutes every Wednesday, starting at 8 o'clock, for sports and drafts and to talk some football. So, hey, with that, thank you, Dave, for this week's Play It Through Person of the Week. It was a fantastic pick as usual. And thank you, everyone that tuned in tonight and that will watch this show throughout the week. Tell your friends about the show. We'd love to have them join the conversation, be a part of the show, and we'd love to hear, see what you guys think about either our picks or who your teams are, your games of the week, your players, whoever it may be. We'd love to have you guys along. So on behalf of Dave, the brains of the outfit here, have a fantastic week, everyone, and we will all see you next week on Sports and Drafts.